ChatGBT and the second episode of Professor Tom's learnings about opening Gracie Barra Tooting.
So what surprised you about building a Tooting specific gym culture versus a generic BJJ gym?
Okay, so how many people were and still are looking for the kind of welcoming community-based culture that I'm instilling in Tooting? So people still want that. They're not looking for a fight to the death kind of place. They want something where they can come and train safely, plug into a community and have fun, learn, get better, be the best version of themselves, but walk away and have a community of people they can interact with both on the mats, off the mats and outside of the academy as well. It's not just how I build, but it's also how the wider GB wants a jiu-jitsu academy to be portrayed. It's like this sort of old school kind of BJJ gym where nothing gets cleaned, you jump on the mats at your own risk, you may walk off alive, if you do you celebrate kind of place. Their time is done, or their time is not done, because there'll always be people who want that kind of thing, but those people want that, they get that. The people who want what we're building here comes here.
I think that's the point, because in the past jiu-jitsu was so niche, so specific, and I think it's still niche, but like in the past, especially in Brazil, it was just so misogynistic and such like a bad vibe environment, like very toxic. And at the past, I think that people who didn't align with that, they were not able to find options to practice, and that's why they get away from the sport, But now we actually live in better times, in the sense of there are a lot of different types of gyms that are more focused at competition, some others are more focused just to like really building a community and spend time together, and some others still were toxic and you should stay away from them. And now you have options, you do have options.
Options is good.
Yeah.
Because there are always people who are different.
And since we are talking about like toxicity and all of those things, I think it's important to use this opportunity to talk about inclusion. So, what have you learned about growing and retaining women on the mats? Like from the first trial until the long-term training.
So, understanding that jiu-jitsu is a very close martial art, you get into close contact with a variety of different people, and lots of people can find that uncomfortable. More so women, if they're not exposed to it, can find that very uncomfortable. If it's not another woman they're with, if it's a mixed gender sort of situation, there is that contact discomfort. There is still the traditional norms around it being quite a male space as well. So those are the things you have to try and overcome, and I was proud of myself from the start to know these things, and then put in place things that I hope and still see it working to overcome that sort of, it's not a male dominated space, to overcome that discomfort of training very close with each other, to say it's okay if you don't want to the whole process we go through about when you're even rolling, if you're a member of it, it's okay to say no, it's your choice. But I think for the academy it was so important to have visible female presence in leading the sessions. And that's high level. I'm grateful to have Sula at the time. We had Sula May, and I'm even more grateful now to have Professor Gabby leading the women's program now, so the women can see it's a woman at the front who's leading, who's been given the opportunity, who makes them feel safe. Then there's the opportunity for them to see that there's a pathway for them to do it if they want to as well.
Yeah, I feel like we need to have more female on the roles of instructors, because then it gives more possibilities for women on the mat. So in the past, I never, when I started teaching, when I started jiu-jitsu, it never crossed my mind that I would end up becoming an instructor, and this would be like a job for me, something that really pays my bills.
Yeah.
Because just to be in the sport itself was already a struggle.
Yeah. And
I had never seen female instructors before. So when I got here, especially in Europe, and then they invite me to teach, I look for opportunities, and yes, we have this and this and that. There's no we don't have no opportunities open at the moment, even though they do have, that they need someone, but like they don't want a woman teaching.
No.
So it was just like so good to leave Brazil in this aspect of seeing that like in other places or the countries there is more openness for women to step up into leadership roles, into like instructor roles, like positions.
Yeah.
Things has changed, from when I started and now, and now things in Brazil are also different, but it's just positive.
Yes, and it's a constant growth. It's changing all the time. It's like in the business world, the same thing. There are more women in positions of leadership, but there should be even more women in positions of leadership in order to help improve the cultures across the board in business and in other areas of society. For us here as well, we have options for women-only training, which some academies don't do. They decide that if women want to train, they come to a mixed gender class and they communicate amongst themselves so they have their own partner. And if there isn't a part for them, tough. That's it. They don't provide a space where women can just train with women and feel safe training with that, which is one thing we do. And with that, we foster this community of belonging, and we continually act with integrity. We're still moving in the right direction.
Maybe we have other people who have other gyms listening to us.
Yeah.
So let's take this opportunity, Tom, to give you a word of advice, for a school that is trying to go from a few to a thriving women's team.
I'd say take a risk. I took a risk. In the start, there weren't any women in the academy. It all had to be built from the ground up. I didn't compromise on these sort of ideas that you need a space. Women, once they are comfortable training on the mats and with that discomfort, they then will participate in the other areas of the class structure. But provide them with that safe space first so that they have the opportunity to train with similar-sized women and overcome those issues which are just keeping them just for training with women. And show that the opportunity for them to train and use jiu-jitsu against men and see how it works, I think is very important for them to feel confident and comfortable outside of the academy as well.
Okay, I think it makes a lot of sense, and I think that for everybody who's listening, we need to have in mind that like building a women's program is gonna have more peculiarities, and you need to be more aware about certain things.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I feel like women, when they come, they also want to be hanging out with each other when they are away from the class, kind of. They want to have like deeper bonds between each other, so you need to give them some space to develop these bonds, So Tom, how do you keep the teams engaged through that drop-off phase where they're having like the exams, or they're dealing with new hobbies, or they're starting like to go more, hang out more with their friends, like having more freedom?
Yeah, I think showing the parents how they're improving so they can see the benefits of jiu-jitsu here at the academy to their child is very important, because attitudes and hobbies of kids change with the changing phases of the moon. Sometimes they're really into it, then like kids they just go off it because something happens in a class. Their ego, which they don't really understand yet, takes over a little bit, and it's jiu-jitsu becomes not for them. But if you can then continually show and positively praise them for what they're doing, even though the growth might be small, it's still growth, but show their parents how much better they are as a result of them training jiu-jitsu, give them the opportunity to lead where possible, to give them that confidence that comes from standing in front of their peers. They then see that there is opportunities for them to grow in this academy, and their smaller kids as well to see there's a route for them to be able to grow. They get from jiu-jitsu not just jiu-jitsu skills, but other skills that are going to help them progress through their school days, their college, university, but their life, basically, life skills. That's what it comes from.
Life skills, yes. I think that for children in general and like the teens, the most important thing is like help them develop these other skills that maybe is not being covered by school, and also family are like is developing, but they also need some more external support, other references, other places that the kids can actually apply that or maybe learn in a different way.
Yeah.
Now Tom, please tell me, tell me the secret. What's the one channel that consistently keeps bringing the right students to the GB Tooting?
GB Tooting.
Yeah,
Put
GB
simply, I'd say community. Like, people in general are social. They want to plug into something that's not just about a skill acquisition, but gives them purpose and gives them that positive interaction whilst they're doing it. So you train, you don't just go off the mats and go. You train, you connect, you plug in, you chat, you arrange things afterwards, outside, stuff like this, giving them the opportunity to then have these events where parents can be on the mats with their kids, so it feels like a joint activity, giving adults the opportunity to be on the mats with their friends or fellow jiu-jitsu practitioners at the same level, so they can feel like they're progressing in something together, and then chatting about what they do outside of the academy. I know we've got a great group of individuals here who regularly, after our advanced session, they go off to, although I don't advocate it, one of the local pubs, and they have a nice little download for an hour about the positions they've just talked. It's quite an intellectual basis, so they tell me. But I think that's what people come to Tooting looking for, and that's what they get, and that's why they stay.
Okay. We know that, because it's very community based, a lot of students, they end up talking to each other. The students, the people who are part of our community, they then start spreading the jiu-jitsu word around.
Yes.
And then we have new people coming over.
Almost like little disciples.
Yeah, it's the word of mouth.
Yeah.
So, how do you even turn this word of mouth into a system without making it feel so transactional?
Yes, so students and families who spread the good works of Gracie Barra Tooting around their schools and workplaces, they just enter into a refer a friend scheme. So you are rewarding people who introduce their friends to the academy because they're like-minded individuals, they're similar people to their friends. They introduce them, the community grows, they should be rewarded for that. It's a small price to pay for a committed individual to be part of the community and help the academy grow and engage with the mission of changing themselves, the academy, individuals within the academy, but also a wider society through training jiu-jitsu.
And Tom, how do you actually, since we are speaking so much about community, I think that this question is kind of important. How do you set sparring expectations so the white belts, they feel safe, and the blue and the purples, they stay challenged?
We talked before about how it's okay to say yes or to say no to a role, depending on your level. It doesn't matter who's asking. When it comes to blue belts and white belts, depending on what session they're attending, the expectation is going to be that as a more advanced individual, you're going to be responsible a little bit for the learning of that white belt. So they're kind of like a sort of coach on the mats to help them through the times that they've experienced themselves, and making sure that people who need that extra sparring, that more intense, more advanced sparring, they get it from the structure of classes we have here. And doing so, making sure that there are enough people around, qualified, to be able to keep them safe while they're doing it.
Okay, now the next thing that I want to know is very, very business oriented. What's the KPI you wish you would track it from day one?
I first started this thinking that if I open the doors, people would kick the doors down and train jiu-jitsu, and that's all they wanted to do. And I realised that it was hard to educate people about jiu-jitsu. It's then hard to get people to carry on and jump in and sign up for jiu-jitsu. It's then just as hard keeping them engaged in jiu-jitsu as well. Realising that when they first start, adults mainly, because this is what I was focusing on, they tend to carry on training for 4 to 6 months. So they have that huge honeymoon period, they train regularly, they train lots, then they start to get tired because they're training so much. Then their frequency drops a little bit, and by the time you get to month 4, 5 or 6, they're out almost. 5 and 6 is when they're gone. So we tracked that information from a purely business point of view, realised that 6-month bulk memberships keep them engaged. Once they're here for 6+ months, they usually tend to stay for a year plus. So you then eliminate that 4 to 5 month drop off, and they stay and build part of the community for longer. Boring numbers. But
after all, they do have some value because they represent people.
They do represent people.
And what personal routines keep Professor Tom sharp as a teacher, an athlete, and a business owner?
I wouldn't say I'm an athlete.
No, tell me your secrets. Come on, you're hiding under this jumper, but you're all...
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So...
Danger.
Have to have a routine that starts early. Most people, when they go to work, they commute, they do their day's job, they go home or they go to the gym, they keep fit, then they eat, and then they relax, then they go to bed. So it took me a while to get to the routine, but that all has to go in a different order when you're running a jiu-jitsu business. So you have to wake up early like they do, but then you have the opportunity to go and train in the gym, which works for your body. So I train 4-5 times a week lifting, because at my age now lifting is so important to keep me fit and well going into my later stage of my life. Then I work a bit, then I teach a bit, and if the opportunity is there I train a bit, and then I go home. And one of the things I've discovered recently over the last year is the benefits of a needle mat. So
what is a needle mat?
So a needle mat is a rectangular piece of foam, and on the top of it are loads of spikes, and you have a pillow that's got loads of spikes on it, and you lie topless on it, and it relaxes your central nervous system.
So it goes from the hips until the forehead, not the forehead, until the head.
Back of the head, yeah. And it relaxes you down, so it brings you out of that fight or flight stage of your nervous system, so your body can relax. And it really helps switch off. If you don't switch off, then you don't sleep, and if you don't sleep, it then compounds, and the months go by, and all you're living off is coffee and high energy drinks. That's where I was in 23 and 24. So to have that as a routine is incredibly helpful.
And if you stay the whole year under that, now you're still recovering.
Yeah, it's true. I was so gaunt and lost so much weight just doing that as a lifestyle. That was never going to be sustainable. So yeah, that's how I get through, and I always make sure that when it gets to the weekend, that Sunday is a non-negotiable day of rest, plugging in family with your wife. That's it. That's all we do, is we just reconnect from a week, because that's incredibly important. If you don't do that, then that's how relationships start to suffer, like I saw them suffer as I was growing up.
Okay, Tom, now, so the gym, how long the gym is here? 2 years?
Yeah, 2.5 years we have it now.
2.5 years. Also this year to
September will be 23.
Wow.
3rd anniversary.
Amazing. We need to do something fun.
Yes.
Leave your comments, your suggestions below, guys. What should we do for the 3-year anniversary of GB Tooting?
How big should the cake be? Big.
Tom, what was the hardest moment that you faced so far? And what did it teach you? And what happened that was oh my gosh, this is such a headache. But then at the same time, it's wow, thank God this happens, because then I know that I can take this specific medicine without collateral damage, kind of.
Yeah, so the biggest thing that I think I had to overcome, that I learned that was hard, that I didn't think I'd have to experience, is that people quit jiu-jitsu. Shock
for
horror.
Different reasons.
For different reasons.
Yes.
I built this business as my passion for jiu-jitsu. The first few people who leave, I saw that as a rejection.
As a failure,
Yeah, total failure, total rejection of my passion, of my purpose. And that was so hard to take. That took me to a lot of dark places, trying to understand if there's anything else I could do in order to convince them that they need to carry on with jiu-jitsu. With feedback and self-evaluation, it's about them, and it was their decision. From a business owner and a coach, and everything else I did here at the time, it was, I can change what I can change. Everything else is out of my hands. If I can make a positive change and that works, brilliant. But if I can't do it, if they're moving
Just
away,
suck it up,
suck it up. This is it. That's it. That's what happens in life. Get over that hurdle, and then next time it's slightly easier, and then it becomes slightly easier. And now it's a case of, well, we know all the information we have suggests that those who quit are quitting for life reasons. We don't have that many people who quit just because jiu-jitsu isn't for them. We work with them to show them that jiu-jitsu is giving them something for their life and is improving them as an individual. So I'm happy to see a low attrition rate for the academy.
Man, 3 years is a big mark, you know. You should be very proud of you.
Yeah.
Because a lot of business, they break like in 2 years' time, maybe. So you're gonna overcome that reach. And Tom,
last question.
Yes, what do you hope GB Tooting is known for in 3 more years?
In 3 more years, it'd be a place where anyone can try jiu-jitsu in a safe and well-structured way, where failing safely is accepted over muscling through it, really. So you let go of your ego, where you can plug into a community of amazing souls who aren't out for themselves but are out for each other and the improvement of each other. And through everything we do, we grow and improve one another, and we're all joined together with the joint mission of improving the whole community of Tooting and the wider area through the jiu-jitsu.
Wow.
Just finished, that's it.
So a great jiu-jitsu academy in London is built on?
Trust and integrity. You can't go very far without it.
Boom!
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tom. I have learned a lot, and like it's always very inspiring to see people taking that risk of like starting something new, a new project.
Yep.
Especially when it's like jiu-jitsu. So I just feel very happy that nowadays, just very happy and glad in general, like thankful that jiu-jitsu is not something just for Brazilians anymore, you know, that it's like spread worldwide, and there are plenty of other people who really connects with the culture and a lot of positive things that were created in Brazil.
Yeah.
And now like they are being able to replicate another space with like the same sport with some changes but keeping some old stuff. So I really appreciate. Like,
thank you very much.
Yeah, I feel honored as a Brazilian.
I'm proud I took the risk, and I'm grateful for these positive words.
Yeah.
They mean a lot. And there we are. That finishes another episode of Gracie Barra Tooting's podcast, ChatGBT. Join us next time when we plug into another exciting topic, another exciting episode here about or in the Academy. Well, thank you very much, Professor Gabby.
Thank you so much, Tom. It's nice to like listen to you and chat to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Guys, see you next week.
See you next week. Ciao, ciao.
Bye.